Hello everyone, welcome back to Ace Wisdom. You don't flinch when they pull away. You don't cry when they stop calling. You don't chase. You don't beg. You don't need anyone, right? Or maybe you've just trained yourself to believe you don't. See, this is what people get wrong about avoidant attachment. They think it looks like silence. They think it looks like space. They think it looks like someone who just doesn't care. But the truth? It's fear in designer clothing. Because most avoidants aren't cold. They're scared. Scared of intimacy, scared of vulnerability, scared of relying on anyone but themselves. And that fear doesn't scream. It whispers, don't get too close. They'll let you down. Handle it yourself. If you've ever ghosted someone before they could hurt you, if you've ever felt relief when plans got cancelled, if you've ever been turned off by someone being too into you, you might not be emotionally unavailable. You might be avoidantly attached. Let's go deeper. Welcome to Week 1, You're Healing, They're Watching, and this is Volume 5, Episode 38 of the Avoidant X series. And let me just say this up top. If you've been here since Volume 1, you're not just watching a series, you're walking through emotional fire. You've seen how avoidant X's detach. You've watched them breadcrumb, withdraw, and pretend they don't feel. You've heard every excuse. I'm just not ready. I need space. I'm not sure what I want. But this episode isn't about them. This one's about you. Because if you've been burned by an avoidant, there's a real chance you're carrying avoidant traits yourself. And before you say, nope, that's not me, let me ask you something. Why does emotional closeness make you uncomfortable? Why do compliments feel fake? Why do you wait hours or days to reply to someone who clearly likes you? Why does being wanted suddenly make you want to run? Sound familiar? Then buckle up. Because today we're unpacking the top 5 signs you have a dismissive avoidant attachment style. And trust me, it's going to hit hard. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Carl Jung. Dismissive avoidants don't just ghost others, they ghost themselves. They downplay their own needs. They disconnect from their emotions. They choose distance over depth because depth feels dangerous. But don't get it twisted. Avoidants are not emotionless. They're overwhelmed, emotionally overloaded, paralyzed by vulnerability, addicted to control. Because in their world, closeness toward a risk. And independence, that's their armor. But you can only wear armor for so long before it starts to suffocate you. And here's the real kicker. Most dismissive avoidants don't even know they're avoidant. They just think they're low maintenance. They wear phrases like, I'm just not into relationships. I value my freedom. I don't want to rely on anyone. But underneath all that, it's the 7-year-old kid who was ignored when they cried. It's the teen who got punished for expressing emotion. It's the adult who was taught that love, weakness. So they built walls, they disconnected, they got really good at looking strong, but secretly they're starving for connection. And when someone gets too close, they panic, they push away, they shut down. Sound familiar? That's avoidant attachment in action. And listen, I'm not judging. I'm calling it out because nobody else will. This world coddles avoidant behavior. It glamorizes low emotion. It celebrates detachment as a flex. But emotional numbness isn't strength. It's scar tissue. And if you don't address it, you'll keep repeating the same toxic loops. Good people will try to love you. You'll push them away. Then you'll tell yourself, see, this is why I stay alone. You'll chase people you can't have. And reject the ones who show up for you. You'll punish people for loving you because deep down you don't believe you're lovable. That's not freedom. That's self-sabotage in disguise. Freedom is the power to choose your chains. Jean-Jacques Rousseau. And right now, you're chained to avoidance, but if you make it to the end of this video, I'm going to give you more than signs. I'm going to give you awareness, and with that awareness comes choice. Choice to love differently. Choice to stop running. choice to stop building connections that are doomed from day one. Because here's the thing, awareness doesn't just heal relationships, it heals you. And the more you understand your own attachment style, the less power it has over your life. So here's what I want you to do right now. Smash that subscribe button if you haven't already. Turn on all notifications, because Volume 5, it's coming in hot. Tap like to support the channel and push this to others who need the wake-up call. And join the channel membership if you want exclusive breakdowns, deeper analysis, behind-the-scenes content, and early access. The link is down in the video description. If you're not in yet, you're falling behind. And now I want you to do one more thing for me. Drop a comment that says, "I'm ready to face my reflection." That's your mantra. That's your claim. That's your signal that denial is done. And listen, I'm dropping a secret mantra later in key point 4. Whoever comments it first is getting pinned. So don't tap out, don't zone out, stay with me till the end. Because when we dive into these 5 signs, something will click. It'll sting, it'll challenge everything you've told yourself about how unbothered you are. But if you lean in, if you absorb it, if you get honest, you'll finally understand why your relationships have felt like landmines, and you'll stop blaming bad timing or the wrong people, and start facing your patterns head-on. No more pretending, no more posturing, no more hiding behind the "I'm just chill" mask. Because let me leave you with one last truth. He who hides his wounds will never be healed. Seneca. This video, it's the first cut, but it's also the beginning of the healing. You ready? Let's begin. Stay focused. Sign number 1. You crave connection, but shut down when you get it. Let's not sugarcoat this. You want love. You want intimacy. You want to be seen deeply, fully, without conditions. But the second someone starts giving it to you, you freeze. You pull back. You feel suffocated. You say things like, "I just need space," or "I'm not sure how I feel anymore." You blame timing. You blame them. You blame the pace. But deep down, you're scared. Because love isn't light and butterflies for you. It's pressure. It's exposure. It's the threat of being known. And being known means they might find something unlovable. So you shut down. You get quiet. You go cold. You turn into the emotionally unavailable version of yourself that feels safe because it's distant. And this isn't just some quirky personality trait. This is classic dismissive avoidant behavior. It's the emotional reflex of someone who learned that closeness sanders danger. Maybe you grew up in a home where love was conditional, where showing emotion got you punished, where needing someone made you feel like a burden. So you adapted. You got good at doing things on your own. You stopped asking for help. You learned how to self-soothe so well. You convinced yourself that needing anyone is weakness. And now, anytime someone shows you love that feels too real, your nervous system panics. You start creating distance, not because they've done something wrong, but because your body's screaming, "This is unsafe." And here's the most toxic part. You'll often blame them for this reaction. You'll say, "They were coming on too strong. They were too clingy. They caught feelings too fast." But were they? Or did they just love you in a way you didn't feel ready to receive? People are not disturbed by things, but by the views they take of them. Epictetus. You're not disturbed by their affection. You're disturbed by what it awakens in you. It stirs up the emotional parts you've buried. The little you who wanted love but got ignored. The teenage you who opened up and got hurt. The adult you who equates connection with chaos. So you protect yourself by doing the only thing that's ever worked. You disconnect. You stop replying to texts as fast. You find flaws in them that weren't there before. You get bored. You hyper-focus on your independence. You start preparing the exit without even realizing it. And here's where it gets messy. That push-pull dynamic you create, it doesn't just hurt the other person. It convinces you more and more that no one is right for you, that you're better off alone, that nobody gets you. But what if the real problem isn't them? What if your definition of safe has been twisted by your past? Because real connection requires emotional risk, and you've spent your whole life avoiding risk. You call it being guarded, you call it standards. But let's be honest, it's fear wearing a crown, and until you name it, until you own it, you'll keep sabotaging the very connection you secretly crave. So here's the reflection. When's the last time you felt emotionally safe and stayed? Not ran, not ghosted, not numbed out, stayed. If that question makes you uncomfortable, you're in the right video. Because dismissive avoidant attachment isn't about not wanting love, it's about believing love will destroy your freedom. But the truth is, real love doesn't take your freedom, it enhances it. Love is the only freedom in the world because it elevates the spirit. Khalil Gibran. And you can't elevate anything if you're busy pulling away every time someone gets close enough to touch your soul. Sign number 2. You pride yourself on being independent, but it's really emotional avoidance. Let's cut the BS. You're not just independent, you're emotionally evasive, and you've wrapped it in a nice shiny label so nobody ever questions it. I don't need anyone. I'm good on my own. I don't do codependency. Sound familiar? You don't ask for help. You don't lean on anyone. You do life like a one-person army because that's what you were forced to become. And at face value, people admire it. You're strong. You're self-sufficient. You're unbothered. But if we really peel back the layers, what you're calling independence is often a shield that protects you from the terrifying possibility of needing someone and getting let down. Again, because you've been there, haven't you? You've opened up before, and they used it against you. You trusted, and they disappointed. You depended, and they vanished. So now, you don't need anyone, or at least that's what you keep telling yourself. The greatest burden a child must bear is the unlived life of the parent. Carl Jung. If you were raised by emotionally unavailable caregivers, you probably learned early on, don't ask, don't expect, don't feel. So you became low maintenance, you became easygoing, you became the person who handles everything alone. But that didn't come from confidence, it came from adaptation. Because somewhere deep in your nervous system is a program running 24/7. Relying on others will hurt you. So instead, you do it all yourself. You bottle things up. You never show weakness. You avoid needy people like the plague. But the irony, you crave connection just as much as anyone else. You just don't trust it. And every time someone tries to offer it to you, you get triggered. You think, they're going to control me. They'll expect too much. They'll drain me. So you ghost, or detach, or sabotage things just enough to keep it from getting too real. And when they finally pull away, you tell yourself it wasn't meant to be, but deep down, you wonder if you'll ever feel safe letting someone in. Because emotional independence isn't about shutting people out. It's about knowing you can stand alone, but choosing intimacy anyway. And you haven't chosen intimacy in a long time. He who fears being conquered is sure of defeat. Napoleon Bonaparte. If you fear being vulnerable, you've already lost the battle for love. Because real intimacy doesn't grow behind walls, it thrives in risk. And right now, your independence is your prison. You say you want a relationship, but your actions scream, don't touch me, don't expect anything from me, don't get close. And here's the brutal truth. The deeper the connection gets, the harder you fight to escape it. You pick fights. You become emotionally unavailable. You hyper-focus on your goals, your grind, your schedule, anything to avoid feeling. You're not trying to grow love, you're trying to control it. But here's the problem: love isn't something you control, it's something you participate in, and you can't participate from behind a wall. So here's your wake-up call. Stop confusing avoidance with strength. Strength is being able to open your heart and hold your boundaries. Strength is being able to love without losing yourself. Strength is being able to say, I don't need you, but I choose you anyway. Because if your version of independence leaves you isolated, disconnected, and emotionally numb, it's not strength. It's a survival mechanism that's expired. Sign number 3, you feel emotion, but you don't express it. Let's destroy the biggest lie you keep telling yourself. I'm not emotional. Wrong. You're extremely emotional. You just don't express it in any healthy, honest, or vulnerable way. Instead of talking about your feelings, you intellectualize them, you dismiss them, you shove them in a dark corner and slap a label on it like, I'm fine. It's not that deep. Whatever, I don't care. But you do care. You just don't feel safe showing it. See, dismissive avoidants aren't numb. They're emotionally guarded, to the point where even they start believing their own detachment. But under that surface, there's a tidal wave of emotion, resentment, loneliness, grief, even love. But it's locked behind a door labeled, do not open. What you resist not only persists, but will grow in size. Carl Jung. And that's exactly what's happening inside you. The more you suppress your emotions, the more they rot, silently. They don't go away, they just leak out in toxic ways. Ever felt randomly irritated and didn't know why? Ever shut down during conflict and felt numb for days? Ever lost interest in someone overnight after a deep conversation? That's not random. That's your nervous system going into shutdown mode, because vulnerability wants emotional exposure. And for you, that exposure feels like a threat. So what do? You avoid emotional conversations. You get uncomfortable with tears, even your own. You call people too sensitive because their emotional openness feels unsafe to you. And when someone asks you how you feel, you either dodge the question or change the subject. Why? Because saying, I'm hurt, or that made me feel rejected, or I don't know how to let people in, would feel like standing naked in front of a firing squad. But here's the irony. You crave deep love. You want loyalty. You want that ride-or-die partner, yet you won't open your mouth long enough to let anyone actually know you. You want safety without exposure, but emotional intimacy doesn't work like that. You don't get connection without vulnerability. To love at all is to be vulnerable. Love anything and your heart will be wrung and possibly broken. C.S. Lewis. And yes, vulnerability is terrifying. Especially when you've been taught that emotions are messy, that crying is weak, that asking for support makes you a burden. So now you cope by being low drama, logical, chill. But let's be real, you've just gotten really good at repressing your emotional needs. And the result? You end up in relationships where you're always misunderstood, where people say, I never know what you're thinking, where they feel like they're loving a brick wall. And you? You sit there thinking, why do they always want more from me? Because you're giving nothing emotionally. You're not letting people in, and if you're not willing to be seen, you'll never truly be loved. So here's your reflection. When's the last time you cried and let someone see it? When's the last time you said, I feel, and actually meant it? When's the last time you let someone witness your fears instead of hiding behind stoicism? Because if all your emotions are buried under cool, fine, and whatever, then you're not emotionally mature, you're emotionally trapped, and as long as you stay there, you'll keep attracting people who feel emotionally starved by your presence. Sign number 4, you sabotage anything that feels too good. Let's get brutally honest. You say you want a healthy relationship. You say you want loyalty, peace, someone who just gets you. But the second you get it, you find a way to ruin it. You start overthinking. You nitpick. You create drama where there isn't any. You tell yourself, they're too into me, it's weird, this is moving too fast, something feels off. But nothing's actually wrong. What you're feeling isn't intuition, it's your fear of intimacy getting triggered. See, avoidants are attracted to chaos. They're drawn to people who keep them at a distance, who leave them guessing, who trigger the exact wounds they secretly carry, because that's what feels familiar. So when someone actually shows up for you, emotionally available, grounded, consistent, you don't trust it. You look at stability and call it boring. You look at peace and label it too easy. You look at kindness and say, there must be a catch. Because in your world, love has always come with pain. So when it doesn't hurt, you panic. You push them away. You convince yourself it's not a match. You sabotage the one connection that could have healed you. Why? Because to receive love, you'd have to believe you deserve it. And right now, you don't. Not fully. We accept the love we think we deserve. Stephen Chbosky. So when someone sees your scars and still wants to stay, you run. When someone makes space for your emotions, you shut down. When someone says, you're safe with me, you get the urge to block them. Because nothing is scarier to a dismissive avoidant than being fully seen and still chosen. That kind of love, it exposes your entire mask, and that's terrifying. But here's the pattern. You don't sabotage toxic people. You don't question the unavailable ones. You only start panicking when someone makes you feel emotionally visible. That's when the alarms go off, because deep down, you're not afraid they'll hurt you. You're afraid they'll get too close. So instead of leaning in, you create an exit. You disappear. You pick fights. You emotionally ice them out so you can regain a false sense of control. But all you're doing is repeating the cycle that made you avoidant in the first place. And here's where it gets real. Every time you sabotage a good thing, you teach your nervous system that healthy love isn't safe. And eventually, you won't even recognize what a healthy connection feels like anymore. You'll be stuck in chaos loops, calling it chemistry. But here's your moment of clarity. If you've ever walked away from someone simply because they made you feel secure, if you've ever lost interest the second it started to feel real, if you've ever killed the vibe because they weren't triggering your trauma, that's not love. That's a trauma reflex. And the only way out, awareness. And that starts right now. So here's your challenge. Be the first to drop this secret mantra in the comments, and I'll pin you myself. Safe doesn't scare me anymore. That's your new declaration, not because you're fully healed, not because it's easy, but because you're done punishing people for loving you properly. Type it, own it, live it. Because from this point forward, no more sabotaging peace, no more labeling stability as boring, no more ghosting people who are actually safe. Sign number 5. You confuse control with safety. You don't trust love, not real love, not the kind that flows, evolves, stretches you open and asks you to let go. What you trust is control, because control feels safe. Control feels predictable. Control lets you hide, and the second a relationship starts to threaten that control, you check out, you ghost, you pull back. You suddenly need space, because if someone gets too close, too fast, you're no longer in charge of the narrative. You can't manage their thoughts. You can't curate their version of you. You can't guarantee they won't hurt you. So instead of taking the emotional risk, you tighten the grip or you disappear. The desire for safety stands against every great and noble enterprise. Tacitus real connection isn't built in control. It's built in surrender. But surrender terrifies the dismissive avoidant. Why? Because they've made control their god. Their entire identity is wrapped around not being seen as weak, needy, messy, vulnerable, or, God forbid, dependent. So they overmanage everything: how often they reply to texts, how much they share emotionally, how close they let people get, how they end things before feelings get deep. They micromanage the flow of love like they're managing a business. And guess what? It kills every relationship they enter. Because connection isn't a transaction, it's not an equation, it's not a one-person show. It's messy, it's unpredictable, it's a surrender to the unknown. And avoidance? They're control freaks disguised as chill people. They say, "I don't like labels. I just go with the flow. I'm just not into heavy emotional stuff." But the truth, they're terrified of not being in control of how they're perceived, because being fully seen is terrifying when you've built your entire identity on being detached, unaffected, and untouchable. But here's the hard pill. Love requires exposure. It requires releasing control long enough to let someone hold you, and the avoidant doesn't know how to do that. They feel safer alone, not because it's better, but because they can control the outcome. You can't be abandoned if you leave first. You can't be hurt if you never let them in. You can't be rejected if you never get attached. That's the twisted logic that keeps you in emotional chains. But let's get something straight. Control isn't safety. Control is fear in disguise. And as long as you keep trying to control love, you'll never experience the depth of it. You must let go of the life you planned so as to accept the one that is waiting for you. Joseph Campbell. If you're still measuring your worth by how unattached you seem, if you still think winning means caring less, if you're still performing detachment like it's a personality trait, then you're not free. You're emotionally imprisoned by your own avoidance. And until you face that truth, every safe connection will feel like a threat. Every genuine person will feel like pressure. Every good relationship will feel like a loss of control. But here's the shift. Real safety isn't about managing love. It's about learning how to receive it, even when it's messy, even when it's unfamiliar, even when it triggers every avoidant alarm in your body. Because that's when healing starts. When you stop trying to control love and finally start participating in it. The wall you built is now the prison you live in. Let's just say it. You're not broken, but you are guarded. And that guard, it's cost you love. It's cost you peace. It's cost you connection so deep, so healing, that you never even gave it the chance to reach you. You think you're protecting yourself. You think you're staying in control, but the truth is, you're stuck in patterns that once kept you safe, but now just keep you lonely. You can't heal what you won't feel, and you can't receive love if you keep running every time it gets too real. The walls we build to protect ourselves eventually become the cages that confine us. Unknown. So here's the truth you've been avoiding. You were never meant to do life alone. You weren't built to survive. You were built to connect. And somewhere, deep beneath all the coolness, all the silence, all the "I don't care" performances, there's a version of you that wants to be seen, that wants to be chosen, that wants to be held. But love will never find that version of you until you stop hiding. So let this episode be your moment, your shift, your call-out, your mirror. And if any of this hit you, hard, deep in that uncomfortable "I've been seen" kind of way, then good. That's the beginning of change. Now don't just watch this and move on. Hit like to tell the algorithm there are more people out there who need this wake-up call. Subscribe and turn on notifications, because Volume 5 isn't just about healing, it's about accountability. It's about taking your power back, and it's about finally becoming the version of you who can love without running. And if you're serious about the work, join the channel membership. Links in the description. That's where we go even deeper, drop exclusive breakdowns, and get real about the patterns most people don't want to face. And before you go, scroll to the comments and type, "I'm done hiding, I'm ready for real love." Not to perform, not to impress, but to declare that you're no longer living behind a mask, because once you name the pattern, you stop being controlled by it. This isn't just healing, it's evolution. And next time someone says, "You've changed," look them in the eye and say, "Damn right I did." See you in the next episode. Let's go deeper.